Everyone, welcome to Mindful Monday. It's Monday at 2 o'clock, and here we are once again for one of these sessions where we all come together to take a few breaths and practice a little bit of self-care in the middle of a time that's really, really challenging for so many of us. And let's hope that this is an opportunity to recharge a little tiny bit in whatever way you can recharge. We've been hearing that people are either separated from their loved ones, and that's really stressful, or in some cases, people are in a situation where they're in a small space or a medium-sized space with their loved ones, and support workers are no longer coming and going. There's all kinds of different ways that we're experiencing our unique stresses during the pandemic. And it's an opportunity to come together. It's an opportunity to try to find new ways of bringing some self-care because it's a situation that we're in and we can't change it right now. Advocacy is incredibly important, and we're just starting a couple of new advocacy projects that we'll fill you in on because it's really important to advocate at times like this. I'm Sue Hutton, and I'm a social worker who has the privilege of doing mindfulness groups with Dr. Lona Yonalunsky and Brianne Redquest and Lee Steele at the Azrieli Center, and it's been a real joy. With these groups, maybe Bree can say a couple of things about these groups in just a moment. I'm the mindfulness leader, and we have more people who are learning to do these groups coming on board with us across the country. We've been researching the online mindfulness programs for quite a few years now, so seemed like a perfect time to bring this out for everybody in the community to get a taste of. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but really today's going to be an opportunity to try a whole bunch of accessible mindfulness practices that we hope are useful to you at this time. We've been researching them, and we're finding short, accessible ways for caregivers and for adults with disabilities to try getting a little calm. So why don't I turn it over to Bree to say a couple of words about our project and what we're doing, and then to Lee Steele, who is our amazing family advisor who's been doing these mindfulness programs with us for a long time and is also on the team at the Azrieli Center. So Lee, Bree, can I turn it to you and then Lee?
Sure. Thanks, Sue. So welcome, everybody. Hopefully everybody found it easy to sign on. And if you had any tech issues or you are having any tech issues, please feel free to send me a message and we'll try and help you troubleshoot through those. I hope you find these sessions really helpful. I know I do. We've been researching these for, I think, I guess it goes back now like 3 or 4 years, maybe 3 years. And we keep finding some really interesting things, and we're happy to share our findings with you all. If you're interested, just message me about that. And with regards to the chat, we'll be monitoring it. So if you have any questions that you'd like to go over for Sue, we will set aside about 5 minutes at the end of the session to go over anybody's questions. So just put those in the chat, and I'll make sure I set them aside, and we'll attend to those. And I think that's all from me, and I'll pass it on to Lee. Enjoy, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Just before we started, I said, my cup is empty. Sue said, do you want to talk a little bit about that metaphor that I came up with? And I know you could relate to this, and probably it's just like in this time of caregivers and just anybody, self-advocates and just everybody, I guess, on the planet. It's just our cups feel really full, and it doesn't take much for any additional stressors just to have that content like flow over and feel like we're not coping very well. So I guess what I just absolutely love about Sue and about what she's taught me about mindfulness is that that's a way of bringing the content of my cup down, just so that I can, when extra stressors come, it just doesn't spill over. There's a margin for me to cope a little bit better, because my experience in the last few weeks has just been that the cup is going right to the brim, and then it goes down a little bit, and then it's like spilling over, and then it's it's never really down at the bottom. My stress levels have never come all the way down in my cup. They're always kind of close to the top. So I need something quick. I need something flexible when I can feel that I am about to maybe react in a way I'm not going to feel good about later, and then I'm going to have guilt on top of stress. So these mindfulness exercises that Sue's been teaching us and will teach us today just helps me to bring down that level a little bit so that I can cope. And it's portable and it's as accessible as our very next breath, which is always with us.
Lee is our poet laureate, I think. Lee has ways of describing mindfulness that are so poetic and beautiful, and I love that, Lee. And it's yeah, the cup thing. I don't know. We seem to like our tea, and I've got mine here. That, believe it or not, I got this when I did a visit to Community Living Six Nations, which is the most amazing Indigenous service provider. It's on a reserve. I'm going to check in on them and see how their cups are doing. But as Lee's saying that, it's also an invitation in our mindfulness programs that Bree was telling you about that we've been researching. And look at us, we're all like, is it 3 years or 4 years? There's so much interest in it. People are liking it so much that we just keep continuing. And Dr. Lunsky keeps guiding us through doing further and further research. And what we do in these is we do practices, mindfulness practices that you'll experience today that we've modified from the traditional mindfulness toolkit. So I did training, I did my first 10-day silent meditation retreat in 1985, and then continued to do these longer retreats. And I lived in India for a year with my teachers and did all these long trainings. And then all of a sudden I had a kid and realized, can't go off on those nice luxurious trips to India and sit in a cave and meditate anymore. So we got to find a way of making meditation be accessible when we're with our kids. And right now we are all doing that, right? Either we're having the pain of being separated because they're in a residence and we're not able to see them right now. That's one thing. And we're doing advocacy around access to communication for those people. But those of us who were there with our family members, Lee is, I am, a lot of us are there in situations where we're here together. Even having a cup of tea and turning that into a mindfulness meditation can be useful. So while you're there with your son and your daughter, your family members, you're about to lose your whatever, as Lee's saying, the stress levels in the cup are at different levels. Just pausing and taking a deep breath, and we're going to practice all these techniques today. Taking a really deep breath where you can allow the belly to fully expand, right? Even right now as we're doing this, can you do a breath in and allow the belly to expand out like a balloon? And then when you breathe out, can you allow the whole body to become heavier and relax? So every breath, like Lee said, the breath is always there with us. And that can be an accessible tool for us to tune in on how we're doing. So let's just take 3 breaths right now. Okay, so all of us together right now. You can close your eyes or keep them open. But just bringing all of your attention to the breath in the body. So the direct sensations of the air as it enters the body. You may feel that through the nostrils. You may feel it in the belly rising. And then when you breathe out, it relaxes back down. So for 3 breaths, let's just try that. Full attention on nothing but the breath. Okay, so look at that. That was just 3 breaths. And feel free to use the chat function and just share with us how many people had their mind wandering during that. Very, very normal for the mind to wander, right? Feel free to just enter in the chat function. Was your mind wandering? You can say, yep, wandering, or nope, it was steady. The reason that we do these mindfulness practices and anchor ourselves on tools like the breath, or body sensation, or sound, or touch, or taste, just our senses. The reason we anchor ourselves on our senses is because that gives an opportunity to get the mind focused and not wandering, right? So when we're not relaxed, the mind is going to go into the future and we have anxious thoughts, or it's going to go into the past where we have depressing thoughts, right? It's not here in the present moment. Mindfulness is not rocket science. It's simply being in the present moment, paying attention. And I love it. You guys are all, look, we're all kind of in the same page, aren't we? People are saying, yep, I was able to, some of us were able to be with the breaths, some of us not quite fully relaxed yet. Shala and Joel was tense, but I felt a bit better toward the end. Lee wandering about what I just said. And Lauren, yeah, my mind was wandering off a bit. And Chris, also and Aiden, yeah. So see that? Paying attention. Belly grumbled, but was trying hard to focus. And great. Okay, wonderful. So as you can see, we're all in kind of different places. But that basic activity of just following and focusing on the breath is one of the easy things we can do anytime. And as we started off with Lee's beautiful metaphor about the cup, just tuning in to direct sensations. And there's another opportunity to stop the mind from wandering off with anxiety or depressing related thoughts, whatever kind of thoughts they are. We want to redirect our focus to that anchor. So when you take a sip of tea, it's nothing but tea, right? That basic. So we'll do a few practices like that. So what I was thinking that we would do for today is a little tiny bit of standing and walking, because we haven't done that in the previous ones that we've done. So really, really brief exercises to give you a sense of what walking meditation, standing meditation is like if you haven't done it. If you've done it a million times, then it's an opportunity to try it again. And then, of course, more of that wonderful, compassionate breath work of doing this, being gentle with ourselves. Lee used the word guilt that I think so many caregivers are having right now about how can I possibly be there for my loved one, either if they're away in a residence and I don't have access for them, or if they're here with me and I don't have the time because I'm working full time to try and pay the bills. So much challenge during this time. And being gentle is so important. Joel, feel free to, yeah, by the way, I like it. Joel just said, should I get a drink? Well, when I was just modeling that cup of tea, because I have a tea here, if anybody wants to go get a drink or get a snack or whatever, do it. Think of this as being a time to be gentle with yourselves. So please feel free to be comfortable. You can get up and go to the bathroom. Don't worry about it. We're just being comfortable and want to provide you with some tools. Okay. Yep. Get up and get yourself anything you want. And great. The next thing I'd like to know is, can we find out how many people who are here with us today have been with us before? So maybe what you can say is either first time or been here before, whatever, just first time or not. The other thing we'd love to find out is, oh, great. Welcome, Kim. First time. That's fantastic. The other thing, and great, Anne. Yep. And second time for Chris, and Cody's been here. Jamie, second time here. Great. The other thing, and Brandon, welcome. Yep. And Aiden and Claire, I recognize you guys have been here. Yep. And Lois, welcome. And Lauren, welcome back. Then the other thing it'd be great to know is how many of you And Bree will attend to that. Lois, thanks for saying you're having trouble with the audio on the phone. Bree will attend to that. Bree is our amazing all-around support person, and she'll try and help you with that. How many of you are there as a caregiver on your own, or a person with a disability, or two of you together? Maybe you can just let us know a little bit about that. And Ramona, welcome. Yeah, right, the time difference. Yep. Joel's back with a drink. So, Joel, when you have that drink, see if you can really focus in on the direct sensations with that, and it'll be like a meditation for you. And Anne, you work in a group home. Oh my gosh, Anne, how wonderful that you're here. And hopefully some of the participants, if they want to attend, they can do it. Or Anne, you can take these skills back and share them with the folks in the group home. Please reach out to us. We'd really love to hear more about your experience in the group home. It'd be wonderful to connect more with you. And Lois, yep, you guys are together. And yep, Aiden, mom and son. And Barbara, yep, direct support professional and work with some of the people you support. Fantastic, Barbara. And Joel, you're living at home. Yep. So we've got a real range. We want everybody to know Tuesday mornings, that's going to be next week, we are offering a group just for adults with disabilities. Okay, so caregivers are welcome to be there in the background, but the entire group, it's going to be Tuesdays at 10. So tune in Tuesdays. Every 10 o'clock, we're going to be doing mindfulness practices, but they're going to be geared toward adults with disabilities and even kids with disabilities, right? All across the age spectrum. So that's another option. And so those of you working in the group homes, you might want to provide that as an activity for people to participate in. Yep, and we're seeing, so Kim, you provide resources over the phone to people in central region of Alberta. Yep. And you're good to know, Kim, thank you. Jillian's there with Jillian and mom, and Lauren living at home with mom and dad. Yep. Ramona, children of your own, and you also work with families. Yep. And thanks, Joel. 10 a.m. Eastern time. So that's 10 a.m. Ontario time. Thank you. I see you guys are asking that. So 10 a.m. Ontario time. We will send out a message about that. So again, that's starting next week. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, you guys are all so great for being here. So fantastic. So we've got a real range, and that's great. So great. And Bree, while you were supporting another person, we had, who was it that asked, if you look back in the chat function, someone was having difficulty with the audio on their phone. Lois, thank you. 10 a.m. is too early in BC. Okay, Bree, we're talking about the Tune In Tuesdays, right? So thank you. Excellent, Lois. Right, because you guys are in BC. That'd be like 7 a.m. It'd be ridiculous. That would be increasing your stress, right? So maybe we can look at Bree. We can perhaps look at that for next Tuesday. Very good to know, Lois. Really important. Right, I forgot we have people from across the country, not just, yeah, so Joel, Bree, can we ask you to pipe in here? Sorry, I mentioned, because I just was asking, Bree, while you were helping another participant, I was just asking, so who's in the room? Do we have, caregivers, people with disabilities on their own? And so we've got a real mix. And I was saying that we felt that we've heard from people with disabilities and self-advocates that they'd really love to have a group just for them, right? Not geared at caregivers, but also just for people with disabilities. And caregivers, of course, can be in the background. But the Tune In Tuesday thing. So Bria, now Joel's asking if we'll be sending an email about that. Bree, are you able to say a couple words about that? Will we be sending an email out, or how will people find out about that?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question, Joel. I think what we'll do is through Eventbrite, everybody who registered had to input an email, and I have access to those emails. So what I can do is once we get the time and everything set up for Tune In Tuesday, we can send out that flyer to everybody, and you'll have and you'll have the opportunity to register. And then when we send that out, you'll also have my contact info if you don't already, and you can call me or email me if you have any questions about that. But we'll make sure that you're updated on all the efforts we have going on right now.
So great. So great. This is the great thing about the Azrieli Center and HCAR just doing so much right now to help with COVID-19 and helping support families and people with disabilities. Okay, with that said, I think we've got a sense of who's in the room and all that kind of stuff. Are you guys ready to try our first practice today? Fabulous. Great. So what I wanted to do was start off with standing and walking. Okay. Great. Thank you, Kim. You guys, this is great. Yep. We'll get the word out there. We want to invite as many people as can benefit to have access to these meditation exercises during this really difficult time. We're hearing so much that anxiety levels are higher than ever for people with intellectual disabilities, and autism obviously went along with the rest of the world, right? So we really want to get some accessible tools that are geared for this population, right? Because it's really important. All righty, so I'm going to ask all of us to start off before we stand up. Let's start, because we got a couple new folks here this week, just do a couple of breaths. Okay, so again, mindfulness is really about paying attention to the direct experience right here, right now. Okay, and the reason we do this is so that we're not getting lost in thoughts, because the human brain doesn't stop thinking, is just constantly thinking all these thoughts. If we have a lot of thoughts of worry, guess what we become expert at? Worry. If we have a lot of thoughts of anger, what do we become expert at? Being angry, right? So whatever we're thinking, we sort of get the mind stronger in those areas. So just like when we go to the gym and we lift weights and work out, when we practice mindfulness, we're working out the brain to be more calm and to be more present. Even though it might seem boring, it's like, I don't understand why we're sitting here focusing on our breath or what we're feeling. Why are we doing this? Guess what? That's where you are rewiring your brain to help reduce anxiety and depression. Okay, so the more we practice it every day, the better we get at it. So daily practice is what makes a difference. So we're showing you these techniques, but then try them every day. And maybe when we send out the little link for the Tune In Tuesdays, we can include some links to some of the guided meditations. They're all up on Spotify and Apple Music. If any of you guys have any of those places, you can look up Sue Hutton Mindfulness, my name. All of the guided meditations we do in our autism and mindfulness programs are up there, okay? So take a look. Doesn't matter if you're autistic or not, they're great practices for everybody. We all do them, so they're good for everybody. So here's a little example of some of them, okay? So I'm going to just show you the first concrete one. A lot of us know this. And if you know it, do it in your own way. And if you've never done it before, just try this. We'll show you a couple techniques. So the lotus breath, see what I'm doing with my hand? I'm opening it and closing it, okay? So just like a beautiful water lily in Canada, or a lotus flower maybe in other parts of the world where there's a more tropical environment, it opens in the day and it closes at night, okay? So we want to just open our hand and close our hand, just like a lotus flower. Now what we're going to do is we're going to breathe with it, okay? So we're going to focus on breathing in when the hand opens. Belly expands out and breathing out. You can breathe out through the mouth to start. So what I'd like you to do right now is for 5 breaths, bring all your concentration and focus to breathing in, and the belly expands out, and then breathing out through the mouth. Okay, so just like you're blowing out a birthday candle, can we all do that? So let's try that for 5 breaths to begin with, focusing on just that experience of breathing, okay? Let's go. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Nice long breaths in your own time. Great. And then when you finish that, try just putting one of your hands on your chest and one of your hands on your belly, and just feel the body relaxing and getting a little bit heavier as you're seated. And if you're sitting down on a couch or a chair or whatever it is you're sitting on, see if you can sit up a little tiny bit more straight, straightening the back a little bit. Now let's try 3 breaths in, and imagine our breath is just like an ocean tide, okay? So when you breathe in, the ocean expands the belly. Breathing out, it relaxes back down. So just like the ocean has that natural rhythm of the breath, or the natural rhythm of the water going in and out, we're going to observe that same natural rhythm with our breathing. So try training your mind, all your focus, just to feel the breath. And with the hands on the body, you can feel the belly rising up and down. So let's do 5 full breaths, training our mind. And each time the mind wanders, no worries, just notice it, bring it back, and just feeling the belly rising and falling. Okay, 5 breaths of that. Ready? Let's go. Breathing in, belly expands out, breathing out, and just breathe out through the nose, nice and relaxed. So every time you breathe out, just let the whole body get heavier. Belly expands out when you breathe in, and breathing out, just get heavier and relax a little bit more. Amazing. And now I'm going to give one more little tool. Let's try just simply counting our breaths. You know how sometimes when you go to bed, you might try counting sheep, right? It's something also just to focus the mind. It's all it is, a tool to focus the mind. So let's try counting our breaths, okay? So it doesn't matter if you count one on the in breath or the out breath. Find a way that it works for you. Because guess what? What we're learning with our groups with autistic adults, and we have autistic adults advising us on our groups, so we're learning so much together. Everybody's different. Some mindfulness teachers and mindfulness schools make everybody do mindfulness in the same way. But we've learned at the Azrieli Center and all of our mindfulness groups, everybody's different. So find your own way of doing this in a way that connects for you, okay? So let's try counting it in a way that works for you. So close your eyes if you want to, but you never have to. You can always just look down at the ground at one object if that's more comfortable. And just count your breaths. Just do that for a few moments, okay? So I'll let you know when the time's up. Just for a few breaths, maybe 3 to 5 breaths, we're going to just try counting our breaths. Each time you lose track, don't worry about it. That's fine, because if you find the mind's wandering, that's an opportunity to say, oh, right, my mind's wandering again. Okay, and gently and compassionately bring it back and then start counting over at 0, okay? So let's try that, just counting our breaths, just for 3 to 5 breaths, and I'll let you know when the time's up. You're not doing it wrong. Just do it in your own way. Okay, here we go. Counting breaths. Fantastic. Great. And so don't worry, the mind wanders, that's what it does. But as you'll see with mindfulness, we practice bringing it back just to the breath. So I want to just point out there's also the opportunity to concentrate on different things, right? So sensations in the body, sounds, as we said, taste. All these things are great focuses. Remember, you're not doing it wrong. You just want to find a way of bringing your attention back to the present moment, okay? Why don't we see right now if we can feel our heartbeat? Very difficult for some people to feel it, very easy for others. So you can even do this. You can even put your hands up by your neck. Just move your hands around until you can notice. You might notice a pulse there. For some people, it's feeling the pulse here. If anybody works out, you might know. See if you can feel that pulse. Let's just quiet the mind a tiny bit. See if we can actually feel our heart beating inside of us. Starting off with feeling that pulse. Let's see if you can actually feel that rhythm of the heart beating inside of us. Let's try that just for one minute maximum, okay? Okay, Joel, you already feel it. Amazing. That's so cool. Like I said, a lot of us don't feel it at all. So let's try just quietening the mind. And if you do already feel it, just see if you can focus all your attention on just the feeling of the heartbeat. Let's try that just for a moment. Close your eyes if you like, or looking down at one object and just taking note of the heartbeat. Okay, let's try that. Okay, go for it. Remember just to keep breathing gently while you're paying attention to that. Okay, great. There's just a brief little taste to that. Be great to hear from people in the chat function. What's easier for you, paying attention to the breath or the heartbeat? What's easier for you to feel? Be really neat to hear from people just in the chat function. All you got to say is breath or heartbeat. The breath for sure, Brandon and Chris. Yep. And Barbara and Shelley. Yeah. Heartbeat. See, Michelle? Yep. Yep. Looks like breath for most of us. Yeah. 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 Okay. And it's neat because breath is kind of an opportunity to tune in with how we're doing. You know, if you get tense, yeah, most of us breath. Yeah. Do you notice if you get tense or you're feeling anxious that the breath gets a little bit shallower, like it tightens up, right? So it can be great to tune in several times during the day to say, how's my breath right now? And just pay attention for even just 3 breaths. Look at that. The majority of us, a couple people, it's easier to pay attention to the heartbeat. Yep, Joel, you're feeling both of them. Yeah, good, good, good. Well, these are ways of tuning into ourselves, right? And the more that we can be aware of what our stress levels are, the more we know what we need to take care of ourselves, right? So if I pay attention and I go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize my breath was so shallow and I'm so tense. I'm actually feeling kind of anxious and I didn't realize it when I've been so busy. So now I know that I need to do a little bit more self-care, right? But it's a great thing just to kind of tune in with yourself. Okay, with that, who's up for doing a very brief standing and walking meditation? This can be really fun, actually. So can everybody just move around a little bit, come to a position where you can be standing and right, yeah, Joel, I got it. Your mind's not in the moment, but you're still feeling the breath and the heartbeat. That's okay. That's okay. This stuff is a training. Even if we're feeling agitated, the more we practice it, the better we get at it. Okay, so just finding that place to stand, right? So everybody coming into a standing position where you can still hear speakers. And yeah, Lee just shared, by the way, Lee just said, sometimes I realize I'm holding my breath. So common, right? We actually hold our breath sometimes when we're feeling tense. Okie dokie. So I love it. So getting standing, because guess what? Mindfulness is not only about sitting still, it's about doing it in our everyday lives, right? Even having that sip of tea, like Lee was talking about right off the get-go, our cups. It's about having a bite to eat, feeling it, tasting it. It's about standing and walking, everything we do. So right now, I'd like you just to move the body back and forth from one foot to the other. So just stand, putting your weight on your right foot and then your weight on your left foot for a moment, okay? Just swaying. And you know what's kind of fun? What we've done with that younger kids sometimes is have them just pretend that we're in an ocean, that we're all these amazing seaweed plants at the bottom of an ocean. And we're all being swayed gently back and forth by the tide of the ocean. Our feet are rooted down into the bottom of the ground, the base of the ocean. So we're rooted and grounded, but those gentle currents are swaying us around. Can you move forward and back? Amazing ocean seaweed just moving around. Body's relaxed and we're upright because we're growing up toward the beautiful sun that might be glimmering at the top of the ocean. And we're just part of this big ocean swaying around. Excellent. And then coming to a standing position. Great. And now just feeling ourselves finding stillness. So what I'd like you to do is just pay attention to the right foot for a moment, feeling the weight in the right foot. Can you feel the sole of that right foot? Can you take note of the temperature? Is it warm or clammy or cool? What's the floor feel like underneath you? Is it carpeted or wooden? And then paying attention to the left foot standing there. Really paying attention to the floor, the surface of the floor. What's it feel like? Just really paying attention. Now paying attention to the both feet standing in the ground. And now here we are, we're still standing upright. Feel free to bend the legs a few moments just to relax the body so we don't have the knees locked. And so now let's imagine, we imagined a moment ago that we were in an amazing ocean of seaweed. Now let's imagine that we are an incredible, majestic tree. And we're standing in the most amazing forest right now. So there might be a kind of forest that you really like the image of. It might be birch or pine or maple, oak tree, whatever kind of tree feels really powerful and grounded to you. Okay? So imagine you are a tree standing in the middle of this incredible forest, very peaceful and beautiful. And just looking ahead, just look down at the ground. So your gaze, or where you're looking, you're not looking all around getting distracted, but you're just calm. The eyes are open, but they're just looking down at one spot as you feel your body rising up from the earth as this majestic tree. So I want you just to play around with this idea of growing roots. Can you imagine that you can grow roots down through the soles of your feet into the earth? So you're getting rooted and grounded. So if you're someone whose mind has fun with imagery, you can just visualize those roots growing down, spreading out and connecting you with the earth, keeping you grounded and connected and powerful. If you don't really use image in your mind, and it's just we all have different brains, just stay with the physical sensations of the body, just standing here connected with the ground. We all do these practices in different ways, so just do whatever helps you. Focus your attention on the body standing here in the present moment. Trees very, very, very subtly may flow with the breeze. If it's a big, powerful oak tree, we won't really see them move at all, but they might ever so subtly just sway if a strong wind comes. So you might feel your body just gently moving. So I want you just now to imagine that just as the tree drinks up nutrients from the earth, our roots going way down to the center of the earth, imagine that we're actually drinking up nutrients and we can feel that coming into the body. Can you feel sensations? Imagining you're being fed and nurtured from the earth as you're feeling your body standing here. Feeling what that feels like, and just feeling the feet and the legs and the hips and the belly. Feeling as your body rises majestically up toward the beautiful sky. And if you're in this beautiful forest right now, is it sunny out? Can you feel the sunshine beaming down on the top of your leaves? Imagining the top of your head, all the branches are expanding and connecting upward, reaching for the beautiful light of the sun. Feeling like a tree, powerful and connected. Knowing that the trees on planet Earth are all going to survive and have this strength throughout all the different things we go through, even including the challenges we're going through right now. So feeling connected to the earth, feeling that sense of power and strength. And feeling also our roots way down below the ground are connecting perhaps with the roots of all the other trees all around us and making a network all around the earth. So we're all connected, grounded, and powerful. And once again, remember, there's no wrong way of doing this. What we want you to do is find a way of taking these meditation instructions and turning them into something that you relate to, that works for you. Okay? So it might be just being with a direct awareness of the body in the present moment, standing here. Or you might have fun with the imagery, being a tree. Okay? So now we're going to stretch it a little bit. We're going to step out of that tree roll and we're going to just take a few steps. So take a few steps forward, stop, and then turn around. So I want you just to walk back and forth where you are. Even if you're in a really tiny room, don't worry, you don't need a lot of space, just a couple of footsteps. So as you walk back and forth, I want you just to have fun with an image that you connect with. We're going to take a few steps, stop, and then a few steps back. So you're basically kind of pacing, right? Going back and forth, but we're doing the opposite of pacing. We're slowing down. And if you like this image of walking with sunlight shining down on you and being suspended or being supported and held by a golden rope or something holding you up. So you're being supported. Play around with that. If you like the image of each time your feet touch the ground, that they're little pads of electricity kissing the ground. The Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh, is his name, says, every time we step on the earth, we are kissing the earth. So just fooling around with that, or you might just like the feeling of the direct sensation of your feet on the ground. It can be great to do with bare feet to really feel sensations. Wonderful. And the next thing I'd like you to try playing around with is another tool for walking meditation, is counting your breath as you walk. Try breathing in and breathing out in unison with your footsteps. Okay, so do it in your own timing. And some people like to do it in kind of a 4/4 rhythm, almost like music. So breathing in, you walk 1, 2, 3, 4 with the footsteps and stop, turn around, and then walk back 1, 2, 3, 4. So you might breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. See what works for you. So I want you to try that for the next few moments, breathing and counting with your footsteps, and do it in a way that works for you in your own rhythm of the breath. Just try slowing down, feeling sensations, and tuning in to the experience of walking and not getting lost in thought, keeping the eyes downcast, looking ahead of you. Try that just for a couple of moments. And then let's just come back to a standing position and see if you can just return to that tree image, being rooted and grounded. So no matter what happens, you are connected to the earth. Can you feel your feet on the ground? If you think about it, some of these powerful trees, they're there in the roughest weather conditions, torrential downpours, snowstorms, heat waves, but they endure and they come back stronger. Feeling ourselves grounded, just like a powerful tree. And then when you're ready, just taking a nice breath in, coming back to your seat. And then just getting seated once again. And then once you're seated, you can just enter a couple words. What was that like for you? What was your yeah, Joel, thanks for offering that. So I find it very hard to stand still, but swaying in the wind works better for me. Amazing, Joel. Beautiful. And see, you guys, see what Joel did there? He made it his own, right? So you knew that swaying in the wind worked better for you, so that's what you did. Congratulations. You're practicing mindfulness. Great. It's making it our own, right? We really invite people to get creative with a way that works for you. And Joel, walking and pretending to be a penguin also worked. That's the best. I love it. And Dami liked being a tree. Okay, fantastic. So guys, these are tools. Swaying was good. Walking, not so much. Yep, there you go. So you know what you like and what you don't. It does not mean you're doing it wrong if you don't like something. It just means something else works better for your brain right now, okay? Um, Oh, I love it, Josh. I felt like I was in nature. Thanks for sending me that private message. Yep. And Kira, the tree pose. Well, you know what the neat thing is? Has anybody here done some yoga? Because, in yoga, we do tree pose. It's one of the poses. But let's take that and turn it into a meditation, right? So when we're still. And Lauren, I find it hard to sit still, so I like the tree swaying in the wind like an oak tree. I love it. Great. Fantastic, everyone. Oh, and Lee's saying, I thought of this incredible tree on the West Coast that is so brave, right? I love it. Everyone, this is wonderful. And yep, and Joanne saying the sense of calm strength, right? Yeah, just like Lee's saying, that tree is very brave. And Samantha, very grounding. Okay, great. I'm glad you guys like that tree swaying exercise. So you know what? For all of you, whether you're a caregiver, whether you're someone living independently, whoever you are, all of us on the earth, anytime at all, try and remember this. Anytime you're going through stress and you're standing or somewhere, just become a tree. Just grow roots and just feel that and sway a little tiny bit and feel like people are saying there's that bravery. I do a lot of canoe trips in the summertime, and sometimes when I'm out on my own, way in the middle of a forest or on a lake somewhere, I'll look at a tree out there on a rock, like looking out at the lake, and I think, wow, that tree is here in the dead of winter when there's no one around, and it's still here, covered in snow. And then here we are in the summer. So we can do all that too. We can become that rooted and connected and calm presence. And the winter will happen, but we're still that grounded tree. We're still going to come out of this, right? Just like with this pandemic, all these stresses, guess what? We're all going to stay rooted. Let's practice staying rooted, staying grounded and calm, and we'll come out of this and we'll be that beautiful, strong tree. Maybe we'll even come into bloom even more after all of this. And I like, yeah, Lee's saying exactly, and the tree leans into the ocean, right? Exactly, exactly. Beautiful. Okay, why don't we do one more little compassion practice with our breath? Okay, so there we did the tree. People are liking that. That's good fun. And great. Um, Alrighty, fantastic, and so glad. And one of the people in the group as with autism, and we're talking about doing some of these. Please, and let us know how it goes. Bree's got your contact. You've got Bree's contact. And maybe Bree and Lee, if you guys say a couple words at the end, Bree, you can say a couple words about our groups, etc. And Lee, if there are a couple words you want to say at the end too. So let's do a brief compassion practice. Do we have any questions coming in? Sometimes people send Bree questions. Please feel free if you got any questions, maybe not right now, maybe people are too busy being trees. We're a forest here, people. Do you feel us? We're a forest all across Canada. Joel Bree will let you know in just a moment about other meetings and groups. Yep, Azrieli Center and H-Card have all kinds of things going on during COVID-19. So Bree can update. By the way, everybody, I want to say I couldn't make it last Friday because I had another meeting. Friday at 2 o'clock, you got to go to the Fit Fridays because so many of us are not getting exercise right now. Bree can talk about that in a moment. Okay, gang. So why don't we do a very, very brief compassion meditation. So here's a nice short compassion meditation because I think it's so important for us to be kind to ourselves because it's so easy to get upset right now during this pandemic. There's so much crisis and so many people going through difficult times. So let's practice this. Can you close your eyes if you're comfortable to do that? If you'd prefer to keep your eyes open, you can do that, but just have them looking down at the ground in front of you. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, put your hand on your belly and on your heart if that's comfortable. It's just a nice concrete way of feeling the breath moving in the body, but it's also a nice way of caring for ourselves, right? Just take a moment, if you've got your hand on your chest and your belly, Take a moment and feel as though you're loving and caring for yourself, just as you might care for a friend who's sick and put your hand on their shoulder. And if you'd like to close your eyes, you can do that now. If you'd like to keep them open, you can look down at the ground. So let's begin with just tuning back into that gentle rhythm of the breath. What I'd like you to do is just notice that the body breathes itself, just like the ocean tide just moves in and out on the beach on its own accord. And remembering when we deepen the breath by expanding the belly, we get other wonderful side effects of relaxation. And every out breath, you can relax the body. So softening the face, softening the jaws, softening the shoulders, all the muscles. Every time you breathe out, fully relax. And I want you just to imagine that you are being nurtured and rocked and cradled by this breath. In the same way, a parent will take a baby and just rock them back and forth. Same way you right now are being rocked by the rhythm of the breath, being cared for and nurtured. It helps you to have a phrase you can breathe in and say, breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I relax. And then if you'd like, you can bring both hands on top of, so one's on top of the other, just placing them both on top of the there. Images, you might not see a light, but you might just feel warmth. And if this image is useful for you, just imagine that there's a beautiful glowing light right inside center of the heart. If anybody's ever been in a home, a cottage, or someone's house where there's a fireplace, imagine that nice, warm, crackling fire as warmth and comfort and safety, and just feeling that warm glow in the center of the heart. In the same way, in that wonderful little cabin or home, that warmth of the fire, when somebody lights that warm, healing fire, the warmth just glows and warms up the whole room. The same way, let's just warm up the whole body with this compassionate light. So that fire, that warmth, just feeling that as a loving kindness, gentle warmth. Feeling the whole body. And then expanding that outward to touch everyone around us. Spending the last moment just breathing in and out, gathering our attention and the breath in the belly, the nostril. And then when you're ready, you can just stretch a little tiny bit, just feeling that sense of warmth. And as we're stretching, can we turn it over to Bree to say a couple of words? I'm going to have to sign off in a very short while, but let's turn it over to Bree and then Lee. I may have to sign off while you guys are still saying your words, but go for it.
Thank you so much, Sue. I feel so much more relaxed and lighter, that's for sure. That was beautiful. And thank you all for attending. In the chat, I'm going to, Lee reminded me of our website. So here you can find a lot of the events we're offering, and we are offering several. So there's a family event tomorrow. Fitness Fit Fridays will take place from 2 until 3. So anybody that's registered for this group, I'll send a mass email including all of our resources, as well as the upcoming information about our Tuesdays, which we will hopefully have very shortly. So expect an email from me with all the information. And if you have any questions, I'm going to type in my email in the chat right now. Feel free to send me an email. And Joel asks, do you have my email? If you registered for this event, then I do. Okay, and then if you don't get something from me by, let's say, tomorrow by 3 p.m., you can shoot me an email at that email and we'll connect. And Lee, on to you.
I just was such a wonderful, I feel so much better. And I love the idea that, one of the freedoms we have left right now anyway is to go for walks in nature. And I don't know, I just felt that Sue really I'm going to be more mindful as I'm walking in nature, that the interconnectedness of us being like trees today. We talked about the lotus breath. I was just realizing like little crocuses right now also open and close at night. So we can have our own version of crocus breath of us opening and closing. Yeah, we are strong and we will get through this together. And I love the idea that our roots are interconnected, even though we look like we're sort of standing independently, and we can't touch one another. We're interconnected with all things. And when we radiate goodwill, that has such a profound effect on us. And being kind to ourselves has just never been more important, I think. Well, I guess we'll see you next Monday, right, Bree?
Yes, absolutely. So we'll see you guys all next Monday. Everybody have a nice day. And again, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Bye, everybody.
Bye.